Hello everyone, my name is Johnny5 and welcome to this week's patch note breakdown. This is for May 22nd of 2024. There's a lot, but also a little in this one, so we're going to go ahead and dive right in. With the new events, we have the 2 years of global self-publishing event, where basically if you're defeating monsters or gathering, there's going to be a chance that this chest spawns, and there's going to be some nice items that are in here. It's basically just a value pack that lasts for 2 hours. Nothing too special out of that. It just extends your value packs. I don't know for sure if you can farm more of them than they use, so maybe you can stack how much value time that you have if you grind or get some life skilling done during this event. You'll have to test that for yourself. And the other one is a silver shop progression for the event as well. So if you go into the pearl shop, there's some stuff that you can buy for silver instead of the normal pearls. They seem okay. Nothing, absolutely amazing. They're not a waste of your time either. Outside of that, the only new event is the worldwide 2nd anniversary with the morning light buffs and bosses. So basically, they're increasing the value of the buffs that you get from the bosses. The sun one gives 2 AP instead of 1. Moon gives 2 DP instead of 1. And the aura of Earth gives 40% item drop rate instead of 20%, which is actually rather cracked, as you can get up to 340% drop rate. And they also increase some of the loot, and you want to do this during special times. So Sun Week is from May 22nd to the 29th, Moon is from the 29th to the 5th, and Earth is from the 5th of June to the 12th. Scrolling down, we already talked about the 2 other events. They already have the continuation ones. For the 3,000 day milestone, Bask in Sunlight, we talked about all of these last week. Continuing down to the actual patch notes. So the patch notes for this week, as we're scrolling through all of these continuous thing events, is going to be I was on the wrong page, the Nodewar revamp, something I've been looking forward to for quite a while. If you've already seen my video over the Nodewar rework and you're not interested in that, there's not much else in this patch note, so you can end the video here if that's what you want. Otherwise, if you would like a refresher, or if you haven't seen the video on what's going on in this new Nodewar system, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it and go over it again. So essentially for this system, you can war from Sunday to Friday, all 6 days excluding Saturday, as Saturday will be siege per normal. Nodewars will now only last an hour starting at the same time instead of being up to 2 hours. With this, as the GM, advisor, staff, secretary, or guild officer, you can register for one of the region sets. So a region set consists of 2 regions. T1s will be referred to as Balanos Serendia, T2s will be Medaya Valencia, and T3s will be Calpheon and Kama. As we continue to go down, you'll see basically you queue up for one of the respective sets, and eventually you get split into one of the 2, unless there's only 4 guilds applied or less. So let's say there are 4 guilds, and that apply for Medaya and Valencia, then all 4 guilds will be on either Medaya or Valencia. If you have 10 guilds that apply for Medaya and Valencia, 5 will go Medaya and 5 will go Valencia. Which guilds go what is completely random. There's no way you can change this. There's no way you can weigh to a certain side. It's just random chance. Continuing down, the caps for in terms of player count will be 30 players for Balanos Serendia with 1 war hero or mercenary, 50 players for Medaya Valencia with 2 war heroes, and 75 for Calpheon and Kama with 3 war heroes. For the caps themselves, you can see them here. If you're wondering what they're equivalent to, Balanos and Serendia are what the previous T2 nodes are, Medaya Valencia are the previous T4s, and Calpheon Kama are uncapped. The objective is to occupy a fort when it expires. So, as we continue down, we can see Serendia is depicted here. I'll scroll in a little bit on it. Serendia is going to have 15 total forts, and which forts are active is going to be completely dependent on how many guilds are here. So if a total of 60 guilds apply for the Balanos Serendia region, then they will split 30 and 30 respectively. 30 is the max that can be on a specific region, and 60 per region set, and the amount of forts active will be the amount of guilds divided by 2. So if all 30 guilds are here, then all 15 nodes will be active. If there are only, let's say, 12, then only 6 forts at random will be active. With this, though, the forts are static. It's just which ones are active is what's random. So the fort right over here is always going to be in this spot. It just might not be active every war. As we continue down, we see that, it explains what I just said. Continuing down some more. There is also a difference of fort levels within each tier. So in T1, there will be a level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 fort, respectively. If there's at least 5 different forts, I imagine. We don't really have any sort of explanation of the weight or the time or anything like that. But each fort will last anywhere between 10 to 60 minutes as soon as the Node Wars starts. And there will be a few with a question mark that have unknown or random end times. So if you own a fort at the end of its timer, let's say there's one that lasts for 10 minutes, and at the 10-minute mark in node where you own it, you capture the node and you are done warring for the day, and you get the prize depending on the level of the fort and the tier. So they all have levels within which scale within the tier as well. So a T1 level 1 is going to have the least amount of rewards, and a T1 level 5 is going to be about equivalent to a T2 level 2. A T2 level 5 will also be about equivalent to a T3 level 2. It's around there. You'll have to do the math for yourself, but just from my quick paper math, that's what it looks like. Continuing down, not too much in terms of complication for this. You can still repair them. The war ends after 1 hour, no matter what, if you don't own a fort or not. You can only get locked out if you if you do not get at least 100 kills and deaths. And here, if you would like to, you can pause and you can see the actual level of forts. They're called tiers in this, respectively. But this is the level of forts within the Balanos, Serendia, Medaya, Valencia, etc. regions. I'm just going to scroll through and pause in case you would like to pause yourself and read them. They're changing it so you can place your campsites during war. Resurrections are working a little bit differently. So previously, because you would own a node and you would lose once your node or fort was killed, you can now spawn at select locations. So for example, if you are in the Balanos region, you can spawn at Valia, Western Guard Camp, or Olivia. If you're in Serendia, you can spawn at Heidel and Glish. And obviously, if you own a fort, you can also spawn at it. If you don't own a fort, you have to spawn at one of those regions. In terms of buildings, what can you place down? Recoveries are gone, gates are gone, and barricades are gone for Node Wars. You can you can use the annex assembly tool to make the buildings that are available. And there's also the cannons, which you can buy from the guild war merchant. With that, though, they've also decided to keep the prices of some of the buildings to be cheaper. So flame towers will be 30 mil instead of the original 500. Hawachas are 30 mil. Elephant nurseries are 50. Flags are 50. And those are basically the only buildings you can build here, and cannons you can kind of place down anywhere. They have a new way to place buildings. It's a little bit nicer. It looks kind of clean. It would have been something nice about 4 years ago, but it'll still work for this. In terms of when can you build buildings or where can you build buildings, the answer is anytime, anywhere, as long as the peg is blue, whether you own a fort or not. Just like in current Node Wars as well, the T1s, you cannot upgrade the Hawacha and Flame Tower, but on the Medaya Valencia or Calphion Kama, you can upgrade the Flame Tower and Hawachas. In terms of node tax and rewards will be the next part we get into. Here is the various amount of guild tax that you will get for owning a node on its respective tier and level. As we scroll down here, we will see that a T3 level 5 gives about 10 to 12 billion silver. And for comparison, I believe a conquest normally gives about 40 to 50 billion prior. And it looks like now they give anywhere from 30 all the way up to 70 billion, depending on which region you're on. And you can pause here if you would like to see those numbers. Otherwise, there are some personal rewards that you can independently get, and I would say they are quite juiced. I think they could still continue to up them a little bit more, but I think most people won't be complaining that we are getting more rewards for our PvP and efforts. So if we're looking at the T1s, you can look at them right here, but real quick, you get some gold bars, essence of honors and gallantries, loot scrolls, drop rate scrolls, a little box, which can have a couple other things in it, which I'll go over, and respective medal of honors. So for the random box, it can give you gold bars, it can give you triumph reward boxes, and it can give you resplendent medals. Or sorry, no, down below, the determined loot box. So we have the baby stones, we have Ocrids, loot boxes or gold boxes, Olucuses, deep seas, courages, Caphras, memory fragments, and more essences. Medalla is just like the one above. The only difference is that the total amount of rewards in value is increased, and there is an item that is unique to this one in the T3, which is the chilling fragments. They're basically just pity pieces for Deboricas. I do not believe the ring is something that you can trade in, so it's only for the necklace, belt, and earring. With that as well, you can also get the like random box that you get from the war itself, which you can get a raw Deborica item of one of the three, and then just like before with like deep seas, Caphra stones, Olucus's gold bars, just more of them. This additional prize down here is for occupying a question mark node, so the prizes do look to be a little bit less for occupying the question mark node instead of going for one of the timed ones. And finally to T3s, where they get quite juiced. I believe if my paper math was correct, a T3 level 5 was about 2.5 billion on average for rewards. And of course, you have the amazing loot box, which can give you some absolutely amazing rewards. Again, with the raw Deborica pieces, you have your actual regular black stones, you have your AP plus 70, your damage reduction plus 300, and your attack and cast speed plus 20%. I believe these are actually the baby ones, the ones that only last 10 minutes. Scratch that original part. And you can also get splendids. Good luck. You can get gens, imp boss knives, essence of gallantries, Caphra stones, just more of the standard stuff. There is also guild member rewards for people who rank in the top 5% or first place for war stats. And I'll go over the war stats in just a second, which is 5 more Medal of Honors. And you get a nice little reward of 300 max HP for 4 hours or 500 HP for 4 hours, depending on the tier. And these are little buff scrolls that you can consume before your next war. With that, though, how do you get these personal rewards? Well, you do so by accumulating points. You get 20 points for killing a stick, for killing a siege fort, 10 for killing a Nodewar stick, 15 for gates in siege, 1 for annex, for like regular buildings such as a cannon obs, or I guess there's no cannon obs, flame tower, Hoacha, flag, or elephant nursery. And then you have just regular kills and siege weapon kills if you're piloting a Hoacha or flame tower, elephant, or cannon. Again, participation rewards as listed above, and also some extra gold bars. Continuing down, Nodewar benefits of the such, we'll go to the different buffs that I weren't quite expecting, but I think are actually quite nice. So these ones are geared towards people who want to continue to play the game after Nodewars and want to PvE or life skill. With this, you can get 10 monster AP and 10% item drop rate if you win on a tier 1, with some life skill mastery and life skill XP of 50 and 30%. And it continues down to T3s where it's 25 monster AP and 25% item drop rate and 100 life skill mastery with 50% life skill XP. That's if you end by capturing a node within each tier. The ones on the left are the participation rewards, which you only get if you get a minimum of 100 kills and deaths, and you capture a fort at least 2 times during the war. If you don't end with the fort, you get these participation buffs. If you end with a fort, you get the victory ones for any sort of clarifications. Another thing that they're adding into Nodewars is that they're adding titles, just like there are in Siege. They're a little bit different, but function essentially the same. The difference being the amount of kills and the title itself, the name. So Trooper is 50 kills, Commander is 100, and Lethal Weapon is 150. They're a red title. It doesn't look like there's any sort of effects, or at least in the pictures that they show, doesn't depict it. And then, of course, they're keeping Stormtrooper, Special Forces Commander, and Ultimate Weapon for Siege. Those have not changed. Continuing down here, traps remain the same. Resets are basically the same. War of the Roses points, so I'm assuming that they plan to return War of the Roses, as you do get points for the respective tiers and level of nodes that you capture, and you can pause here if you would like to read that. And then there is also the guild join restriction time, which is when you can try to join the node war or alliance itself, and you can pause here if you'd like to see those times. Outside of that, there's a little bit of new music. There's a couple of small little changes, and then some of the events that already existed in the game. And finally, bug fixes. Lots and lots and lots of bug fixes, which never seem to end in BDO. Other than that, thank you for watching this video. We will have a Global Labs video this coming Friday. Thank you for watching the video. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It helps the channel a bunch. Otherwise, liking the video or just watching is a lot as well. I also stream on Twitch if you would like to catch me live at twitch.tv/JONNEYFIVE. Otherwise, I'll see all of you guys later.